Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Cynthia Smith, and this is the Intuitive Hypnotherapy Podcast. I am a licensed chiropractor, acupuncturist, hypnotherapist, psychic medium, and most importantly, mom to the awesome and talented Shanti. So in this podcast, I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I really want to support other podcasters. So I want to chat a little bit about podcasts that I personally listen to. Now I have two lists. I have one that I listen to, one list of podcasts that I listen to intermittently, but recommend if it's your jam. And then I have another list of podcasts that I have listened to every single one. All of them are, from the beginning. They have my attention and have kept it. So one of the ones I really enjoy is Crime Junkie. And it's Ashley Flowers and Britt Awat. Pardon me if I mispronounce your last name. And they have such wonderful rapport. They really seem to care about the stories that they're telling and the depth of research that they do for each of their cases that they present. It is quite impressive. I don't listen to it all the time because frankly, Man's Inhumanity to Man was just starting to bum me out. They are tremendous, and it's a top rated podcast. Another one, because I like smart women and I like history and I like learning stuff, as you may imagine, is one called Stuff You Missed in History Class. And that is a fantastic trip down the annals of history that we've missed, right? And it's beautifully told. And I didn't list the host, I'm so sorry. But it's called Stuff You Missed in History Class. It's fantastic. Another one that I listen to intermittently and like quite a bit is called Fly on the Wall. And that is hosted by Dana Carvey and David Spade. Did not know those two were friends. Love it. Here for every bit of it. And they have a really interesting interview style when they're talking to their guests. Granted, most of their guests, if not all, are former cast or participants in some form or manner with Saturday Night Live. And but just the stories and talking about what goes on behind the scenes, and listening to these two just riff on each other is really enjoyable. So again, haven't listened to all of them, but 100% tune in. Another one for my hypnotherapy crowd, or if you're interested in hypnotherapy, is called Work Smart Hypnosis by Jason Lynett. Jason Lynett is one of my teachers, one of my mentors. I can't quite call him a colleague yet because he's got light years more experience in hypnosis than I do. In the other stuff, I pace him a little bit. And he has another one, Hypnotic Language Hacks, where he operates from integrity to teach business owners, people who are trying to move to that next level, of how to use language to properly position you for what it is you're trying to accomplish. And I hope I worded that well enough to get the point across and give him the honor and the respect that I believe he deserves. So these are the podcasts that I have listened to from the beginning. Highly recommend. The first one is Ridiculous Crime, and the hosts are Zarin Burnett and Zarin. God, having a brain fart. Anyway, those two are freaking hilarious. I'm going to go on and look at my phone real quick, and I will tell you, because they updated weekly. Okay. The hosts are Zarin Burnett and Elizabeth Dutton. Sorry, just had a brain fart. I was listening to it this morning. I've listened to every single one of them. The repartee between these two goofballs is hysterical. That's what I keep coming back for. But moreover, they're very smart comics, and the depth and nuances of their storytelling speaks to not only their comic talents, but also their intelligence, and apparently world adventurers. If you just want to tap into one that still makes me laugh is a story about Soapy Smith. And anyway, not all of the ridiculous crimes do they talk about are particularly intriguing, but the storytelling about the ridiculous crime is what keeps me coming back. So tip of the hat to the ridiculous crime group. The other one I listened to, and I have heart glitter for all smart women. And this one is called Noble Blood. And I think this is Dana Schwartz, if I haven't mucked this one up too badly. And yes, and she's now an author, a novelist. And Noble Blood talks about not just what we think of nobility, like the crown and the Windsor Castle and everything, but she researches noble families from all over the planet. And it's fascinating history. And it's fascinating in these characters' impact on the world today. And tip of the hat to her research. She comes back every week with something new and fabulous. I love learning. She's a great storyteller again. And I highly recommend Noble Blood by Dana Schwartz. And lastly, and this one gets my highest recommendation. There's a journalist by the name of Mandy Matney. And there are several podcasts about the Murdaugh murders. And I haven't listened to them. I've only listened to this one. So I presume it's the best, because she's been following this family for going on 4 years now, and has done some deep dives and research into, quite frankly, the levels of corruption in South Carolina that is frightening, absolutely frightening. And this is just one corner of one state. As a chiropractor and an acupuncturist, I've worked bunches of PI cases, and I've worked with dozens of lawyers over the 30 years I've been in practice. And following this, hand to God, it just makes me question all of them, even the guys I like, or the gals I like. Is it that easy to become corrupt when you're dealing with personal injury cases? So, an interesting query. I hope not. I hope there are more upstanding lawyers than curmudgeons. But she and her team have done such a fabulous job following this trial and the subsets of the trial, and the crimes, the financial crimes, tax evasion, his helpers, from the bankers that had helped him and the other lawyers that had helped him. when you have something this dark, this seedy, it's not as simple as it seems. And Mandy Matney and her crew are parsing out in the most delightful, delicious, hanging on every word, can't wait for every episode way that this is the one of my podcast recommendations for December 2022 that I would give. And so can't wait for the next episode. Can't wait to see how this unfolds and the stories and podcasts that she will tell as a result of some of the investigations that she has done. So good job. My daughter has a master's in journalism, and people like Mandy Matney, I hope that my daughter one day, wants to do deep dive investigating reporting like this. She may not, and that's fabulous too. But anything with the journalism, I kind of lean into. And so those are my podcast recommendations, podcasters recommending podcasts. So I am Dr. Cynthia Smith, and this is Intuitive Hypnotherapy Podcast. I invite you to come for the chat, stay for the healing. And in this case, I invited you to come for the chat, stay for the recommendations. So next episode coming up is Virtual Gastric Band Part 4, Healing the Deep Soul Wounds that got you big in the first place. Stay tuned. That'll be coming right up. Again, I'm Dr. Cynthia Smith. This is Intuitive Hypnotherapy Podcast. So long.